Hey everyone, NW Order for Life here with the Seven Deadly Sins episode 15 review. Um, the episode was really good as always. Starts off with the Gowther basically revealing himself to the enemy knights and the Seven Deadly Sins, showing that he is the real thing. And they say that it's nice to see all the Seven Deadly Sins reunite, but they don't really care. I mean, it'd be great to fight them, but their only mission is to take the head of the monster, the Iron Giant monster. So Gowther tries to talk them out of it. They don't want to hear it, so he says fine, and he slices the head off of his Iron Giant. And he basically says that if they would have all fought, it would have put the village below them at risk, and that would disgrace the deaths of the holy knights that were dead there from the Seven Deadly Sins fighting. So they gave him the head, and they accepted his reasoning, and they left to go bring the head back to Helbram. And then the monster comes. The Iron Giant is not dead. He pops back up, and he's like a demon. And like Gowther says that there's like a holy knight inside of him. And then we get a scene of the assassin knights talking, and they're basically saying they're not. They wonder why Helbram wanted. Like they suspect that something's behind Helbram, that like he's trying to hide the existence of that monster. They question why he didn't use the new generation, or they specifically say like his pawns, the new generation. So right there we see that they are in Dreyfus's camp, these knights, and they're normal holy knights, and basically they have disdain for the new generation, which is cool. And then we see Meliodas and Bon trying to fight with their fists, the demon monster. Oh, also Jericho was listening to their conversation behind a tree to the new generation. I mean, she to the assassin knights talking about Helbram. She was listening on their conversation behind a tree. So then we see Bon and Meliodas trying to fight with their hands, and it's not working well. And King tries to make he makes his spear Chastival into like this, I don't know, like a big, like cushiony, like pillow giant thing that I guess is supposed to serve as armor. But the creature emits some kind of ice frost breath and shatters it. But it doesn't matter because Chastival keeps coming back anyway. But yeah, and so then Meliodas grabs like a sword and shield. He blocks this like slime blast from the monster, and he's about to strike. And then he sees, oh, he's about to strike too by like channeling like this black flame through the sword. And as he's about to strike the monster, he sees the holy knight in the chest, and he doesn't want to fight or whatever. And Bond just snatches. He uses his ability snatch and grabs the monster's heart, and then like crushes it. And he's like, well, that's the end of that. And Meliodas is pissed off at him, like, why would you do that? That's a holy knight, and like he was still alive. We could have saved him and whatever. And then he comes back. He's not dead after that. And Meliodas finds out that that's actually well. First, before he finds out. Gowther uses his arrow, his ability is called invasion, and the arrow like shot right through the monster's chest, and it put the monster in like a state of like illusion where the human inside the monster was dreaming about what he wanted to see. And that's when Meliodas realized, when it was still, that the human holy knight inside of it was this guy named Dale. Dale, as we can see from his dream, is the father of Guila and Zeal, and we don't know why he was turned into a demon, or what happened, the circumstances behind that. But he's apologizing to them in his illusion dream, and saying sorry, and telling Guila to protect her brother and stuff. And then after that, Bond says we have to kill him. We have to kill him. He tries to, you know, crush him with his hand or whatever. It doesn't work. I think actually I think that he used snatch on Dale after Gowther shot him with the arrow and the illusion or whatever. That's when he did it. But yeah, so Meliodas was pissed off. You know, Dale, whatever. Like, he was our friend. Blah blah blah. And Bond is like, he's not there anymore. If you keep, you know, doing this crap, you're gonna get all of us killed. And then we saw Elizabeth talking with Cain. Cain enters the Boar Inn or whatever, where Meliodas, you know, runs his operation, and he tells Elizabeth all about Liz, because Elizabeth looks just like Liz, and we see a flashback of Liz, you know, looking exactly like her, the same face as Elizabeth, the same body type, and, you know, I think just a different hairstyle, and maybe red hair or something like that. And she, you know, was an enemy knight of some kind of kingdom, and she attacked, you know, the holy knights or whatever, and she was caught. And Meliodas was the captain, and he spared her life. And like, basically, like, the knights are like, no, we can't accept her, captain. And he's like, oh, so you all want to be my enemy then? And they all shut up, like, like, you know. And he took her into the holy knights. He, you know, stayed with her. He was perverted with her, just like he is with Elizabeth, you know, groping her and stuff. And she became his lover and fell in love with him, and, you know, all that stuff. And she wanted to give him a sword, and he never accepted the sword, because he said that he's too powerful. If he uses a weapon, you know, he'll destroy everything or something like that. So she somehow that sword ended up in Cain's possession, and Cain gives it to Elizabeth and tells Elizabeth to keep it because she looks just like Liz or whatever. And then Elizabeth decides to leave and go find Meliodas when they hear, like, explosions outside. And then we go back to the fighting scene, and the monster is pretty much running wild. King gets sprayed with slime or whatever. Bond gets, like, you know, bursted in half by an attack. And then Liz runs in and she tells Meliodas, you know, or Elizabeth runs in and she tells Meliodas that Liz wanted you to have this weapon to, you know, to protect yourself, and you know, also to think of her, or something to that effect. I forget the whole thing, but that was a little speech, and it made Meliodas motivated, and, you know, got him to understand that he needs to kill the monster in front of him. And he does it with, like, you know, like, one slash. He, like, makes, like, all these slash marks on the monster, it cuts it into pieces. And then we find out from Gowther having a flashback, is basically the monster came, you know, was in the forest rampaging. Gowther introduced himself in the armor and decided that, you know, he would give the monster the armor because the armor conceals magic, or not conceals it, but seals it away, and, like, you know, makes magic containable or something, like, won't go out of control while it's in the armor. And so, you know, we see that the new Iron Giant in Gowther's armor, you know, is basically saying, like, you know, little things like book and read and friend and things like that. And Gowther changes his hair to look like Alan, so he could be, like, you know, in disguise and get books for him and stuff like that. And then we see Dale on the ground. Well, first they take this monster demon thing out of the demon body, this, like, core, and they crush it, and then they all speculate that the Holy Knights have something to do with the demons, so that means either Hendrickson or Dreyfus, and then Gowther immediately says Hendrickson. Hendrickson is behind this, and they all finally realize that Hendrickson is using demons for this new generation, and, you know, all this other stuff. And then at the very end, Dale is like, well, not the very end, but Dale is just, like, you know, on the floor. I don't know how he's not completely 100% dead, but he's, like, muttering, you know, friend, Gowther, friend, thank you. And, you know, Gowther is like, oh, was I able to really become your friend? Like, you know, did we really make a connection and stuff like that? So at the very end of the episode, we see Helbram get the head from the Assassin Knights. He says, good work. He tells Guila to dispose of it. making Guila destroy, if that's her father's head or the demon head that came from her father. That's the symbolism that she's, being used as a pawn against, without her knowledge, doing something to her father's body, or whatever. So that's the sad part about that. So that's the episode in a nutshell. I like it, as always. 8 out of 10. Not that great with the fighting scenes, but I really did enjoy seeing the connection Elizabeth has to Liz, and the whole mystery there of why they're so alike, and what that connection is with Meliodas, with Elizabeth, and basically Gowther's powers are cool. The invasion, his personality is interesting. The armor, the magical armor, all interesting. And then, of course, going further into the demon storyline with Hendrickson. So now at least the heroes finally know what's going on, and they're finally going to do something about it, take some kind of initiative against these holy knights. So what did you think about the episode? Let me know in the comments below. Please rate the video and subscribe for more videos in the future if you enjoy them. So thank you and have a nice night.